So the Diddy situation, chat, it's actually gotten pretty serious at this point. Rolling Stones did a whole thing. We'll cover that after the 20 minutes that y'all are giving me right now. However, what I did want to cover is this important and breaking news. An exclusive from CNN. Ironically, again, CNN is giving us an exclusive. What does this mean to y'all, chat? And what does it mean to us? What this means to us, and by the way, we should look at this too. CNN exclusive video, Diddy. Let's see if we can find that article. I'm trying to see if we can find that article. Can we? I'm trying to see if we can find that article. The point of what I'm saying is that if you guys understand how media works, trust me, I work in media. I know how this shit works. If you see one company get an exclusive video and 2 weeks later get an exclusive verifiable source, they're the person with the plug. CNN got the plug. This plug right here told me where they got the rest from, okay? This plug is telling me that they got a lot of what's happened is that they're tapped in with the feds, right? Now, that might mean for you, oh, maybe the feds leaked that Cassie tape. Now, I still believe that that was Cassie and her team. However, I believe that she knew that this federal grand jury was coming, and because it might be, maybe she didn't sign whatever deal that she needed to sign yet, she needed to put it out because the feds had it on the table. The feds was saying, yo, Cassie, we seized a bunch of videos. You're in the videos fucking recruiting the bitches, having the bitches do all type of shit. You're the one that they're responding to. He's just jacking off in the corner. You seem like a co-conspirator. Yes, you got your ass beat, but you seem like a co-conspirator. She leaks that video publicly. Everyone looks at her as a victim. But why does she leak it at that time? And also, how does CNN get this information? They're tapped in with the feds. Okay? Here's the new information that just came out. It says a federal grand jury may soon hear from Sean Diddy Combs' accusers. Okay? It says federal investigators are preparing to bring accusers of the music mogul before grand jury. Two sources familiar with the probe tell CNN. Now, let me just tell you this point blank period. The only way they could know this information with any source is from law enforcement, prosecutor, or so the USA prosecutor's office, or somebody familiar with that court that would be in the district of the Southern District of New York. So you have to have a federal court leak, a FBI HSI leak, or you're going to have, obviously also the witnesses could tell you that. So that's another thing to think about. The witnesses could also leak that. Like, hey, yo, some shit's about to happen. The feds have hit us to possibly go in. So going back to my original theory, either CNN's source is the feds. I think the feds, I think that's a good kind of, guess. But also, what's a great guess too is that the source is Cassie. How did this get out? And I'm going to tell you why it's only a few people that could know this possibly, right? It has to be the witness who got notified, the court that is going to be in, one of the jurors, but the jurors don't get the case yet, right? And they're supposedly secretive, right? So who the fuck would believe them if they're sending a random email? They don't got CNN connects. Right? Or law enforcement, right? So who could have leaked the video? Law enforcement or Cassie? It's only two people. So it's law enforcement, so FBI, HSI, or Cassie that could have leaked the video, right? Who could have known about possibly grand jury? Cassie, HSI. Same two people. So whoever you want to believe, that's where that leak came from. For the people who believe that the hotel people leaked that video, this basically rules that out. It's impossible, okay? Now, I'm going to go off just media type shit. The mere fact that CNN has two exclusives, it tells me that they're talking to someone. And again, it could be and probably is Cassie, if you ask me. Cassie. Well, actually, I can't even tell because I would say Cassie, but then leaking that video, now knowing you leaked the video 2 weeks before the grand jury is about to start happening, tells me that you maybe are hoping there's other witnesses or other people who suffered violence or whatever from Diddy to come forward that you could present. Okay. All right, let me get through this real quick because I know y'all want to talk about the ghostwriting and shit. I'll do it in 15 minutes. All right, so, and by the way, it says a spokesperson for Homeland Security declined to comment on the existence. Yes, the source could have been within Homeland Security. They're gonna officially ask, and they could deny it. So we can't deny, we can't like rule out that it's not HSI, right, or someone within FBI HSI. Even though I'm still saying it's Cassie. I think Cassie's leaked all this shit. Cassie and her lawyer has leaked all this shit. They leaked the first video of her getting her ass beat, which would make it very obvious to everyone that even if she is involved in allegations of helping to procure, groom, sexually assault or abuse other women, she was a victim herself. So that's what that one video did. Yo, I'm getting my ass beat by the nigga too. What the fuck are we talking about? Secondly, who would know that the witnesses have been contacted? Look, even though they say two sources, I don't know if we want to believe CNN to the T, says two sources, the witnesses have been notified. Who would be the main witness? Cassie. So again, Cassie would know about this too, right? So this is why reason I'm saying it's Cassie, bro. Come on. It's Cassie's team, right? Okay. So it says bringing individuals who have blah, 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 to, okay. Now, this is like an interesting thing, and I'm gonna see if I can get like Myron on. I'll text him. Let's see if I can get him on. Yo, I'm gonna see if I can get him on. He could probably talk about this a little bit more. But I do want to give you guys a little bit of like background. So what this means here is we're now gonna finally get to the point of maybe a few weeks. And that's why Bradford Cohen, who came on here, was like really accurate. We're probably a few weeks from finding out if Diddy is going to be indicted. Once the grand jury hears a case, they could hear the case for weeks. They could hear it for months. I think in the case of Trump, they heard it for maybe over a month, right? Depending on how many witnesses, depending on whatever. I'll explain the grand jury in a second. But after that point, they have to do a vote. And the vote's going to say, do we indict, which is going to be a true bill, or is going to be a no bill, right? No bill, there is no charges that they're going to bring. A true bill is going to be a true bill to the specific charges or allegations that they could bring, okay? I'm trying to explain to you guys the process because I think some people feel like he's already guilty. All it's just telling us is that the feds are taking they're taking steps. That's all they're doing. They're taking steps to get this guy locked up. Okay? Somebody says Cassie ain't have that video. I actually think she did. I think she had that video. That's why she got the settlement. I think she has not only that video, she has multiple other videos that probably didn't look good for Diddy and probably said to him, bro, I'm done playing with you. I didn't put it in the lawsuit, but you see I described it, nigga. Because keep in mind, she described that video to a T. And one person made a good observation. Let me ask y'all a question. If some shit happened to y'all in 2016, 7 years later in 2023, that's when she filed, would you have perfect memory of exactly what happened? Then I went outside. Then he came around and then he turned the corner. Like, her memory is fucking perfect. Not saying she was drunk or none that she couldn't remember, but sometimes after even as a victim, you've gone through steps of suppressing that information to very accurately bring that shit up in a lawsuit probably is signaling, nigga, I'm not only recollecting, nigga, I'm just looking at the tape. Do you get what I'm saying? So I believe she probably either had access to the tape or something of the sort. You know what I'm saying? Somebody said, yes, it's a traumatic experience. Okay, here's the point too, and we don't have to get into these arguments because I think all will reveal like very soon. The reason why I know she had the video, my nigga, She described shit that Diddy did that she would have never known. Yo, he came running down the hallway after, like, for all that we saw in video, what she would have known is I tried to sneak out and all of a sudden this motherfucker appeared. She described the video. She described the hallway scene. She described it. Do you get what I'm saying? She described it as someone watching a video. Like for example, if I break out of something, I don't know what I break out of somewhere and I'm trying to get away and then somebody catches me. I don't know what they did to catch me. All I know is that they caught me because I'm me, right? But if you can see the video, it'd be like, oh yeah, they jumped over 3 fences, they ducked under some shit, yeah. Like she described it as it was a tape, not as if it was just her memory. That's important to know, okay? I think that makes sense. There's a lot of educated people in here, okay? All right. And we're not going to argue about trauma and shit like that. So I do believe she had the video, but I think she had multiple videos, okay? I think she had multiple other things that she probably kept, for whatever reason. Maybe from time to time, as women are, she probably used it to threaten. I don't know if she was using these things to threaten him during, but for whatever reason, when they broke up, I guess he thought everything was sweet, right? Okay. Anyway, let's get to the grand jury shit. And this is why the grand jury shit is important. So usually what happens in these cases, I know I have a couple of lawyers who watch me. You guys are in my DMs, so you guys could definitely hit my line if I'm saying something incorrect. Help correct, just correct my course in how I'm explaining this. When presenting the case is a very important time. Okay? You have to list the co-conspirators, the witnesses, the victims. And here's the thing, this is why it's interesting that the leak comes before this information. It seems like Cassie has just gotten either word or maybe she just signed her immunity deal, but she's gotten word that she's going to be the star witness, right? Obviously, we all thought she was going to be, but I think that video, I'm with Bradford Cohen. I think that video was leaked because maybe the government was probably either threatening her or angling to say, hey, yo, Cassie, to keep it real, we got a bunch of other victims. They're saying that you brought them there. They're saying that you gave them the drugs. They're saying you did some shit. You could be a co-conspirator. You leaked that video with Diddy. That's, the public will look at the FBI and HSI like crazy. Like, you charge Cassie? Are you fucking stupid? So that comes out. I think she signs her immunity deal. And then they notify her that they're ready to go in front of the grand jury. Let me tell you what a grand jury is, people. A grand jury is a secret proceeding. It's meant to be secret. It's very rare that you will ever hear the real inner workings of a grand jury, of what was presented. And there's a saying about a grand jury. In a grand jury, they say a prosecutor could indict a ham sandwich. Now, in a grand jury, they're not looking for proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Grand jury, actually, they're looking for, I believe, reasonable suspicion that a crime was committed. I think that's the exact term. Let's actually read it here. Grand jury, okay, so it's going to consist of 16 to 23 jurors. We're never going to know. It's private. That's another thing. It's private. We can't go on Pacer. We can't go on any type of thing to find out what happened there. You can't, okay? Also, this is something that usually that the person being investigated is not also invited to. They're not invited to testify. Only thing of their testimony or not testimony, really, anything that they would say would be used from maybe they talk to the police. So their interrogation might be used. It's supposed to be fair, but the reason why they say you could indict a ham sandwich is because the defense isn't present. So a prosecutor goes before 16 to 23 people, tell all type of allegations and alleged facts. You're not there to defend yourself. By the way, there's no defense. Actually, in most grand jury proceedings, there isn't also a judge. So it's just a prosecutor running it. By the way, well, I don't know about the federal level, but on a state level, they usually hear more than one cases, and they convene for sometimes up to 6 months. So they'll hear case after case after case, case after case after case, they vote. Case after case after case, vote. Case after case. You get what I'm saying? Their only job is not to say people are guilty, it's just to say, can we indict them of a crime? Okay? All right. So they consider multiple cases over the course of their term. They usually serve up to 18 months on the federal level, but could serve 24, which is 2 years. Okay? Yeah. Okay. Oh, actually, no. So it's probable cause, actually. So actually they're looking for probable cause. By the way, probable cause is such like a, there's a scale of things. Look, probable cause versus reasonable suspicion, and obviously beyond a reasonable doubt. So to get somebody convicted in court, you need beyond a reasonable doubt. So that's how you get a guilty thing. To get someone charged, or usually to go to a search warrant, it's usually probable cause. Like probable cause a lot of things. Like, for example, a cop comes up to your car, say weed was illegal wherever you at, he smells weed. That's probable cause for him to search your car. You get what I'm saying? And let me see. There's actually a scale of them. I don't know if I could find it in a really dope way. Reasonable suspicion is inclination or a hunch that criminal activity could have happened. Probable cause is going to be observing a situation based on reasonable suspicion that could lead to proof, and that's probable cause, right? And, beyond a reasonable doubt is going to be obviously, it's no other way, right? Okay. All right. I explain that because I'm trying to explain this grand jury process, right? So this is what's going to be happening. By the way, we shouldn't know this, but of course, CNN and everybody else got leaks. What does this tell me? This tells me that the courts finally are ready to, or not the courts, the prosecutors are finally ready to put forward this case to the grand jury. Now, let me tell you how the grand jury works. They're going to review all the charges. They're going to review the statutes for what would be grounds that these charges could exist on, and also why these charges could be applicable. If they feel like it's probable cause, they will vote for or no. Do you get what I'm saying? Now, here's the process that Diddy's about to go through. Let's say it's 23 jurors. And we'll Google this right now. How much of grand jury federally to indict? So it's a vote. So essentially, when you're on trial and it's 12 jury members, everyone has to say guilty or not guilty or it's a mistrial. Everyone has to agree. That's beyond a reasonable doubt. Everybody agrees, right? In a grand jury, because it's probable cause, they want the majority. So for federal grand jury, you need 12 of the 23 to vote to indict. So pretty much, you just got to convince half the crowd. Keep in mind, an indictment only means you're going to trial. It does not mean anything else. It says it's a much easier, it's easier to meet the standard. By the way, there's another way how people can get indictment. There's another way without the grand jury to get an indictment, but usually the letter of the land most places is grand jury, okay? Cool. Typically, a grand jury is allowed to see and hear evidence, blah, 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 that would not be presented to a trial jury. Okay, so there's not much objections there because the defense isn't there. They get to view it any type of way they want. A lot of times they're going to be talking to, so like, let me extrapolate. 100% they're going to be talking, or Cassie is going to be on the stand. So Cassie is going to give a detailed report or a detailed testimony of what she went through with Diddy, the crimes she saw him commit, the crimes that she felt he inflicted on her, and every other victim and other people who probably have gotten a proffer or something of the sort. Anybody that might have evidence, they will be either, their arm might be twisted to testify. For example, if you're the guy who's working tech for Diddy, they might say to this guy, yo, you better help us get all the video or else you're a co-conspirator. We'll do a deal with you. That said, we won't charge you, but you got to be at the grand jury and you got to explain what you did. Right? So all these things that happen, 12 out of 23, let's say 23 people convene, have to vote. And they have to vote. Somebody says 11:30. Hold on, give me a second. Just give me a second. Let me finish this, okay? It's going to be quick. So that's where it's at. It's finally happened. Usually this process takes a few weeks, right? So if we're hearing now that they're telling the victims, we need you to come to court, within the next few weeks, they're going to have to be in court testifying. Their testimony is going to be added with evidence of what they found on security tape, other shit that the HSI has gotten over the years that they felt could add to this case. And I'm thinking this is going to take, let me see, right now this is pretty much the beginning of June. I don't think before July 4th, but I definitely think before, when's Labor Day? Is it like the end of August? Yeah, by the end of August or the beginning of September, I could see 100% that they're going to have a finding about this. Okay? Chat, just give me a second. Give me me like 10 more minutes. Give me 10 more minutes, okay? So, about, if you're wondering what's going to happen, by September, we're probably going to get something. Now, if nothing happens, and this is how the grand jury works, right? And this is from my understanding. I know I have some attorneys in here. You guys can help me out. If they choose to indict, there goes to what's supposedly a presentment, and they present, hey, these are the formal charges we're going to bring. A judge is going to sign off on it. That is now the DOJ is going to take that. They're going to print that on their website. Then there's going to be arrest warrants handed out. Then we're going to go through the process of him getting bailed, this and third. When's the trial is going to happen, if it's going to be one, right? However, there's a possibility that maybe everybody was lying on Diddy. And the grand jury hears all this shit and says, we don't think nothing happened. Because here's the thing also. You can't just present what's being said in a civil suit. A civil suit, you can say anything. Yo, he had 5 eyes. Nobody cares. Like, there's no, you don't have to prove that, especially in a complaint. Remember, none of these cases, even the civil ones, have gone to court. And even in civil court, there's way less of a burden of proof than it is in criminal court. Criminal court, you gotta know what you're saying. By the way, I'll make a bet with any of y'all. How much y'all want to bet that in this whole shit, Lil Rod is not in it? They ain't bringing that nigga on the stand. Based on what he said in his complaint, he gassed it up so much that it's probably gonna hurt the Fed's case than help. Cassie, 100% is. Some of these other women, I think maybe even April Lamprey, I think she is. Okay? But Lil Rod, there was too much salacious, gossipy, internet media shit in there, right? Okay, so what happens if they vote that there isn't enough to indict? It puts the feds in a really interesting position. It means that they just have to let Diddy walk, or, Diddy at that point would know, right? Or they would have to go find new evidence that wasn't presented to get a reason to try to go do the process again. But it would have to be significant amount of evidence. So they would have to find literally Diddy on tape doing some shit. Say they don't have it now, right? They would have to go find the smoking gun to present it again. You get what I'm saying? Now, the only thing with grand juries, as opposed to a real trial, if Diddy gets charged for this and he beats it, he could never be tried again. The thing with a grand jury, you could go through that process again. However, they're not going to do the same grand jury process with the same evidence. They're going to have to need new evidence and more substantive evidence, okay? So I'm saying, no, I'm telling you, Lil Rod is not, I'm telling you, trust me on this. Also, speaking of which, Speaking of which, right? Which I think I kind of said, and obviously, even when we talk about these cases, people are like, yo, Ak, well, what about you? I'll give you a scenario, and this is why I feel no, right? So when there was allegations about me, right? Because I'm a public figure, so I was told by the attorney that came to the prosecutor's office and everything. Because I'm a public figure, no DA wants to be the person that later gets embarrassed in the public on, why didn't you charge that guy? Is it because he's... No DA wants to do that. The DAs, because remember, these guys are running for public office, right? Like, even if they look at the shit like, there ain't no evidence here, they don't want to do it, right? Especially, they don't want to be the person, so even if they don't want to charge somebody, they don't want to be the person to say, we're not going to do it. You know why? Say a victim gets popular later or makes the news and be like, yo, why didn't At get charged? You know what happens? No matter if it's a lack of evidence, they present it anyway. So when people hear me say, the police declined to charge, this shit went to a grand jury. It went to a grand jury because I'm a popular figure. The grand jury declined. They said, no, there's nothing here. So the people voted like, no bill. So there's a bunch of people who be like, oh my God, no. So I know that process from there, but this is state, right? So I know that process. So they looked at the shit. It's not just the cops. The cops had to put it forward because they said he's a famous guy. If later on, it's like, imagine if there's someone like R. Kelly, right? And you're the DA who declined to charge R. Kelly. Then later on he gets charged. Nobody, like, you're done, right? They'll be like, nigga, yo, what the fuck would you do? So it's better off you have the grand jury do it. So the grand jury is going to, like, it's pretty much, this is the ultimate test, right? If the grand jury comes back and says there's nothing here, we're probably going to have to look into, like, well, why do we think that he was that guilty? If all they need is probable cause to charge a nigga, like, why do we think the nigga's guilty? Do you get what I'm saying? However, if you ask me, and this is me guessing, it's just a guess, I believe that they have charges on him to not make the feds look bad. Right? It's to make the feds not look bad. I think they're going to try money laundering, sex trafficking, like the RICO Act. These are such vague things that, look at what Young Thug is going through. They're going to get a charge regardless. To me, it's almost impossible. Like, I know this is going to sound crazy to y'all. It would have been better if Diddy was only charged with not charged. If he was only accused of sexual assault. You know why? Because that is something that they could look at one incident and be like, oh, no, it wasn't. This is going to be such a convoluted web. There's no way he doesn't get indicted. Like, bro, I've never even heard of, and I've spoken to some people, like, not federal officers, but, like, I've spoken to some people like, yo, once they go into like RICO shit, bro, you could indict niggas on RICO for anything. All it takes for a RICO charge, a racketeering charge, is like, yo, did that nigga spend money? Was there interstate commerce? Are there victims? These are all check boxes for Diddy, right? And again, some of this is word of mouth. Like, some of these people are saying they're victims. I'm not defending Diddy. I'm just telling you, I don't see how he doesn't get charged, right? And I think it's because of how much these things have been trumped up to be more than just sexual assault or domestic violence. This is an accusation of sex trafficking and racketeering that is like, did he have a enterprise going on? Yes. Did he probably spend a lot of money recruiting people doing shit like that, whether they were with it or not? Yeah. That's all going to bear true, especially if you now have the women saying, oh, yeah, we weren't with that. Yeah, he's going to get charged. Like, I can't imagine a grand jury don't charge him. You know what I mean? They only need 50% of the vote. Like, 50% of the vote is, like, very, very low, right? It's all good. So that is my analysis of this. I do think that this grand jury will charge him. I know, like I don't know how familiar some of y'all are with the grand jury process, but I tried to explain it just now. But it's a very low standard. It's a very low standard that um, I don't see him getting past. You get what I'm saying? All right, hold on. Okay. Somebody said we do not care about Diddy. Jesus Christ! When y'all ready for Drake, y'all don't care about anything. Okay. All right.